Ah!
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Taste Like Music. Jason, Joe, and Crams are here. And it is round 3 of March Badness. We are down to 8 songs, 4 matchups. Your votes are in for what is worse, and it is now time for us to deliberate and decide what is moving on to the final 4. All right, first matchup, we're going songs from our Song of the Year series, our selections for Worst of the Year. The final 2 remaining in that region is Ahab the Arab by Ray Stevens and Seven Little Girls Sitting in the Back Seat by Paul Evans. Which way did the audience vote?
So this one was actually pretty close. 6% difference, 10 votes. The audience went with Ahab the Arab by Ray fucking Stevens. There's an old Mr. Show sketch where they talk about Ray Stevens, and I never knew who it was. And only until a few years ago, I was like, oh, that's weird little homage. But she goes, Ray fucking Stevens will be there. So the audience vote gets 2, takes a vote from each of us, hence 3 votes from our panel to overturn it. And I'll be the first one to contribute that. I'm actually going with Seven Little Girls by Paul Evans being the worst song. I think just because Seven Little Girls kind of seduces you with its charm. I mean, if you change the lyrics, it's got a catchiness to it. It's got a friendliness to it. It's a little inviting. Ahab the Arab is troublesome by today's standards, but it is clearly a novelty song. There's not a lot of like truth and conviction behind it. Whereas Paul Evans rubs me the wrong way more. So I'm fighting against the audience here. Let's see if my boys back me up.
Yeah, I will back you up. Paul Evans for me as well. I think it's really, really close. I think they're about equally bad. So the separating factor for me is just going to be which one's more annoying to listen to. And I think that melody of keep your eyes on the road, keep your hands on the wheel is just more grating. So Paul Evans for me.
Well, it's all coming down to me. That's interesting. Power in my hand. It is very close. I think the audience is split. You guys, I think we're weighing both pretty equally. For me, I gotta give it to Ahab the Arab. It is a really long song. Like, it is really painful to get through. Seven Little Girls Sitting in the Back Seat is extremely bad, but it's over pretty quickly. It's just sort of a novelty. Yeah, it was the 60s. Everything was weird back then. Ahab the Arab is just like so lame. Like, there's not a single like clever second in it. I think it's more annoying, the melody. And it's just like the spoken words. It's just like too much going on. So I gotta say, Ahab the Arab a little bit worse for me. So I'm with the audience. It's moving on.
Ahab moves on and will take on the winner of our next matchup, which is from our Patreon requested region. And in that region, we've got Ooh by Jimmy Fallon featuring will.i.am up against Rice and Curry by Dr. Bombay. These are 2 really terrible songs. Which way did the audience go?
This was the biggest performing winner. Jimmy Fallon featuring will.i.am with Ooh taking it with over 3/4 of the vote, 76%, 135 to 42, defeating Rice and Curry by Dr. Bombay. It does not have the legs, or Bombay does not have the legs. I'm with the audience here. Ooh, Jimmy Fallon, we've talked about it. It is a professional comedian doing a song that is not funny for a second. If you're going to write music, it's got to be musical unless it's comedy. But this one's not funny, so you're left with a bad song, a really bad song. that's supposed to be funny and isn't, just like Jimmy Fallon. It really sucks. And rice and curry is bad, but at least it's got a little hop to it. You know, it's got some hop. I can get down to rice and curry. I haven't, and I won't, but I could. Can't do anything positive with Ooh by Jimmy Fallon. So it moves on, but I still want to know what you guys think.
Well, I mean, I totally agree. It's sad when rice and curry is probably 5 times just the song that you is. And I don't know if there's any racism like in the world that could overcome the lyrics of you for me. And just like the lack of any type of comedic element to it. Like it's literally written by a comedian, but it's so much worse than a Happy Arab. It's worse than, you know, Dr. Bombay's attempt at humor. Like those are really lame, bad attempts at humor. This is somehow worse, and it's from like the host of a late night show that gets very good ratings and gets all these musical guests on it all the time. And yet this, I mean, it is just so embarrassingly bad that it's hard to believe. And I really think like this is, you know, Duke, this is North Carolina, this is the blue blood of the blue bloods. And I think it's going to go all the way and take the crown. And I'm really proud of the audience for their vote on this, for sure.
You think Coach K is coaching the Jimmy Fallon song?
Yeah. Yes, it is just another level of badness.
I think both of these songs are really terrible. And I think if they were from different regions, this could easily be a final. I could see. But yeah, I probably agree with you guys. It is worse. All right, so next region. These were songs that we just found online of lists of the worst songs. These are general consensus type of terrible songs. And the two that we have come down to in this region are Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue by Toby Keith up against Hey Soul Sister by Train.
So the audience, which is heavily British, by the way, went no dice to Train and want Toby Keith to move on, courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue, his big post 9/11 anthem. But I don't agree. I think Train, Hey Soul Sister is worse. And don't get me wrong, courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue is tailor-made by like a chess computer to be something that I would hate more than anything in the world, except a really stupid effing song like Hey Soul Sister. Hey, hey, the ukulele, everything is just so bad. We've talked about it. Toby Keith's song has bad lyrics for all the reasons that will make him money, make him patriotic. I mean, I know he believes all that. Train's lyrics are just bad from just a lack of talent level. Like, it's just a complete ignorance to how to write good songs. And then you get this. This is my blue blood team. This is my like 98 Michigan State University kind of team with Cleaves and all them. I'm ready to go here with Hey Soul Sister, but I haven't moved on yet. Let's see what you guys got.
I'm also going Hey Soul Sister. And I don't think it's a lack of talent. I think, and that's what's so bad about it, I think he knows exactly what he's doing. He knows how bad it is, and he knows he's going to sell 1 million records. I mean, he wrote Meet Virginia, which is a fine song, so he's not completely talentless. So, yeah, I think Hey Soul Sister is just an all-time terrible mess of a song.
You know, for me, it comes down to expectations. I kind of expect this kind of thing from Toby Keith. For Train, I didn't hate them in their original run with Drops of Jupiter and Meet Virginia. I thought they were pretty average, but I agree with Jason. Like, he knows exactly what he's trying to do on Hey Soul Sister. It is just stooping into the, you know, trash heap, the garbage piles here. And I actually think, as bad as the lyrics are for Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue, as a song, it's much superior in its construction. So we're gonna flip the audience here. I'm going Hey Soul Sister. I think it's a more deserving, as hackneyed as Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue is. Hey Soul Sister has found a way into my brain. It's UCLA. It's like the West Coast power team. So hopefully him and Jimmy Fallon in the finals. I think it's a good matchup there.
That is our first overturn of the 2022 tournament. I think we did the right thing. Good job, guys. One more matchup to talk about here. Who will be taking on Hey Soul Sister in the final four? We've got American Reckoning by Bon Jovi up against If You Were in Love by Boston. Man, what a matchup we got here. Which way did the audience go?
This one was fairly close here as well. 58-42. American Reckoning by Bon Jovi over If You Were in Love by Boston. And I've been the big champion of this entire Bon Jovi album being the worst of 2020. You guys would have never heard it if I didn't talk about, I was like, you have to hear this, especially this song. It's Toby Keith's song, just on the other end of the political aisle. It's super overly woke and incredibly, it takes this really sensitive subject matter and just panders this bullshit. But I'm actually going against the audience here, which might shock you guys. I'm going with If You Were in Love because I can't think of another song I could ever hear in my life that someone could say, hey, I've been playing and recording music for 40 years. Here's my new song. I would have been like, 40 minutes or 40 years? It is just an elementary level mess by professional musicians who have a couple of the highest regarded albums in the history of this genre. And then somehow it's like, part of their frontal lobe was just taken out. If you took a rock and roll music class for 9 weeks in 9th grade, and at the end of it, had to turn in this song for your project, his song would still only get a C+ or B-. And this is a Boston album. And this is a Boston song. It's so ugly, so messy. I got to go with this. I mean, Bon Jovi's song is ridiculously terrible and just misses the mark. But it sounds good. It's professionally recorded. And this is just not.
Joe looks like he's on the fence, but I'm going to jump in and side with Cram on this. I think the Boston song is worse. I'll give Joe the deciding vote, but that Boston song, I love it. It makes me laugh so much every time I hear it. It's so ridiculous. I can't believe it. I'm so glad we did that listography. Otherwise, I would have never heard that record. But man, how does that even happen? I know how the Bon Jovi song happens. I have no idea how that Boston record happens.
There's a lot of pressure on me here. Do I overturn the audience vote? Do I vote with my compatriots here? And it is so tough because I'm looking at the lyrics right now for Bon Jovi. And then their all-time level is just lame. I think you hit the nail on the head when you said it's the opposite of Toby Keith. Just, from the liberal side, it's like bleeding heart, just all over. And it's awful, but it is competently made. It's competently produced. The guitars and the bass and the drums all sound like they were put forth by competent musicians, which is more than you can say about the Boston album, that song in particular. It's just so mind-boggling that they could put that on an album. And someone at some label was like, yeah, that's fine. That's good for a Boston album. Sure. Has that guy ever heard Boston? He's the only person on earth who hasn't heard the self-titled Boston album. That couldn't say why don't we work on, this one a little bit longer? It sounds a little half baked there, Tommy. So I'm going with you guys. We're flipping this one. Boston's, as much as it pains me as a AOR fan, I gotta put Boston in the final four here.
All right, so the matchups are set for the final four. We've got Ahab the Arab by Ray Stevens up against Ooh by Jimmy Fallon featuring Will I Am. We've got Hey Soul Sister by Train up against If You Were in Love by Boston. So go to the website. Let us know what you think. Which one's worse? Remember, you're voting for the worst song, not your favorite song. You can follow the link in the video description. It'll take you there. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. Let us know what you think of these songs down in the comments, and we will see you in round 4 for the final 4 matchups. We'll see you then. Thanks for watching.